Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love. Absolutely incredible experts across the United States, but also the world over. All sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of journeys, personal journeys, expansion, contraction. But the point of it is we've got unique individuals, sometimes healers, best-selling authors, and so on, who have gone through something and decided they're going to help others. And so that's what the show is about the universe, angels, positivity and love, compassion, maybe doing a little bit more kindness daily. Who knows? I'll call it 7% less thinking, or let's flip that pancake. It's 7% a little more love, or just easing off the accelerator called the brain. Today, coming from California, Santa Barbara area, we have an incredible expert, super journeyed, super seasoned, has been helping others, won a humanitarian award, has at least 3 books out, Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes, and she prefers Temple. You can find her everywhere at Temple Hayes on all her social media for her her tagline. Temple, thank you so much for being on Angels, Positivity and Love.
Oh, I've been so looking forward to being on your show. It's amazing the work you're doing. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And you're established and you've been doing this a while. You've been at it a while. Can you just jump to 1 mile up in the sky for 1 second before we hear either your origin story or what's been going on in the last 5 years? What have you learned lately that's been sort of catching you in a refreshing way? What's been the main lesson lately, or reminder that's just kept you positive about everything with humanity?
There's a beautiful story at Queen Elizabeth's coronation, Michael, that she's asking her mother, Mom, how will I know when to be a queen? And how will I know when I'm just Elizabeth? And she says, my love, you will be asking that question all your life. And for me, it's like, is this a time that I'm Temple? Or is this a time that I am a leader? I ask that question in the overview of life every day of my life. I feel there's an immense, when you've survived yourself, you're fortunate enough, as you said earlier, we are here to do the work based on what we've learned. On another 360-degree look, maybe perhaps we went through that to better our work, which in that, to me, the leaders that we have today, the real from the heart leaders, the real what is for the greater good, it's important that we ask ourselves, what are we putting out there? What are we saying? I mean, there's enough weary, discouragement, energies, division. We don't need to add to that. We need to add to, look up here, here's the laser view, here's the laser possibility, and let's aim for that. So for me, my passion is always aiming high. I learned years ago, you and I were having a wonderful conversation before we went on the air about things that you heard. I think Marlo Thomas, I know she did. She wrote a book, Right Words at the Right Time. You'll love the book if you haven't read it. Wonderful book. That being said, right words at the right time. One of my teachers said, Temple, don't ever want to be average. The average is the best of the worst and the worst of the best. So when we're looking at average statistics, average numbers, predictions, it's like, no, let's choose here. So that's a window of that into my heart.
Okay, where did you get your moxie? When did it begin? Was it at the age of 5, teenage years? When did you just seize life by the horns and not look back?
I feel like the external conditions trained me for moxie. I feel like I was born into moxie. It took me 48 hours to be born. That'll create some moxie. I want out of here. But that being said, external conditions, because 2 years ago I played a narrative and I represented Yogananda. And I thought, wow, how fortunate he was that he could go to his parents and basically say, I'm tapped in and something's going on. And his parents go, let's get you to mystery school. I was born in a small southern town, Baptist, named after my grandfather, who held the record as the leading deacon in the church. And I come out into this life spiritually different and sexually different.
Mm.
That's a whole lot of handful in the 60s, and my family turning on me, and all of that because I was the one bringing hell into their world. So when you face those types of things, you either go down or you go out.
Mm.
You either, go into a closet and hide, or you go, wait a minute, I was not designed as an accident. I'm not just somebody's coincidence. I am here to stand for people who are different in whatever way. I'm here to be the voice for the voiceless. And so I would aim into that. And that's how the Moxie started. In the 70s, as you know, Michael, it was a little unique having a strong assertive voice as a female,
Mm.
right? Because you get tagged different labels, but it's like, that's not mine to hold. That's somebody else's. So that's the Moxie. I feel like it's always been there. I just get more bolder in expressing it.
I love it. Okay, hey, there's a bunch of different ways to describe vibrations or how we spend our energy daily. And I've learned in 13 years a very important lesson, maybe three. Angels exist. Where you put your focus is where you put it. And also, how you spend your energy is how you spend it. Can you describe those energies? We daily are doing a lot of this up here. And I've never met anybody who goes out the door for work or says, I'm going to spend the whole month of July or August wasting as much energy as I can. And yet, welcome to being human. It's Casablanca, the movie, the casino. I'm shocked there's gambling going on here. What's this all about? The heart, openness, limitlessness, timelessness, all that other stuff. And then what's this about? Thinking. Can you describe the difference in flows?
Well, in my own experience, that's a couple of areas. One is energy is a belief system.
Hmm.
So, do we maintain it? Are we responsible? I can lie to my body and it will lie me down. Do I need to do self care, evolve, allow my body to intuitively change with me through the years, to eat, change my diet, do those things? Absolutely. I need to follow my inner guidance. But fundamentally, underneath all that is, what do I believe about energy and where do I believe it comes from? I lived in Florida for 35 years. I never saw an egret complaining about being tired, complaining that someone took his fish, complaining that there's never enough, complaining that I can't believe it. I got to get out there again tomorrow and I got to do the same thing. So you're right, Michael. The belief in how we carry energy and where we believe, to me, energy is infinite. It's always giving of itself, and I choose to either compartmentalize it. Oh, I have energy when I'm around those people. Oh, I don't have energy when I'm around those people. Oh, I spent the weekend with so and so and they just sucked all the energy out of my body. That's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Energy is electrifying and it's always coming through us. But we have people that say, oh, it's Monday and by Friday I'm going to be tired. That's a belief system.
Hmm.
On Friday, electrify your energy. You'll have more energy than you ever have. When we go through crisis, it's rough. We get slapped down. Yes, we do. We get knocked down sometimes through death and tragedy and economy and all those things. But if you live with a belief system that says, I don't know what I'm going to have left of me by the time I get on the other side of that, if you buy into societal values that say, well, sweetheart, by the time you die, you're already dead. If you get into all that, yes. But if you believe that everything that you walk in, by walking through it, you're going to be more energetic than you were when you started, you will be. I'm living proof of that. That's been a core value of mine. No matter what I face, no matter who dies or how many or whatever, my concern isn't about dying. My deeper wisdom is about not dying while I'm living.
Mm.
And so it's an energetic presence. So if you want more energy, those that are tuning in, do research, delve in, change your belief system, stop saying limited things. When we talk about vibration and our vibration is changing, we've gone to workshops, we've listened to Michael's show, we've tapped into some angels, we've been visited by Sai Baba, we're shifting. And then all of a sudden we start saying, oh, I don't know, I feel sick. I don't believe you're sick. I believe you're detoxing. I believe you're ridding yourself of the older energies so the new energy can transform. We're not able to eat the way grandmother did, right? Because we are changing, we are evolving. And when we attempt to stop and live in that paradigm, then we stagnate and then we become tired and weary. When we die, we're destined to have more energy than what we were born with. That's my goal. And so when we talk about just not being average, I'm not one of these people that say, oh, I don't know. I hope I make it to 80 and I hope I'm not in a walker. Are you kidding me? Anybody can do that. Most people do. I'm going for 150. I'm going to aim higher. Okay, 4-minute mile. Okay, why not? I mean, why are we apologizing for taking on consciousness with all that we know now, right? And growing into that. So that's one aspect about it. And I'm glad you asked me because I have so much passion. I can run circles around most 20 and 30-year-olds
Mm.
because I know energy doesn't come from me. And I'm grateful that I have that wisdom. That being said, when you were talking about chakras, would you like me to mention that? In studying shamanism and our electrical system, our EKG, our electrical system, our chakra system, the lower three are about who we are as human beings, our root, our grounded, I belong here. I'm supposed to be here. Our mental chakra, our emotional chakra, those are where common mass energy can spend their time,
Mm.
regardless of what country or where you are. Oh, I got my own house. I got my gate. I got my fence. I got my car. I got my things. I got my stuff. I'm managing my emotions and I'm an achiever and blah, 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 blah. There's nothing wrong with any of that. Been there myself many a time. However, there's a connector called the heart. There's a heart. And when you look at the number one cause of death globally, it's heart issues. Wonder why that is. Because there's this bridge between our lower vibration consciousness of the earth. This is of the earth. The heart, in being the bridge, opens up the pathway to the heaven, to the greater of who we are, which is the throat chakra. I am what I am, the power of what my words speak, the declaring the pathway of my life, the third eye of being able to listen and intuit and perceive and hear and tap in with the angels so I can hear them, and to have the light. And so one would say, well, where do I start? Well, look at where your heart is. Look at, are you opening the way or are you closing the way? Look at, if you start each day and say, here I am, universe, I am open, I am willing, I am not closing down, I'm not cheating myself for a moment to love again. That kind of stuff. So the vibration is always shifting. It's when you hold it in that creates often issues, illness. I love what Yogananda said. Something to the effect of, I have so much electricity in my body, when some kind of germ wants to come to me, I electrocute it. I love that. Anyway.
I love it. So everything is your instruction if you're willing to pay attention a little bit more. And also, again, my problem turns into my opportunity for growth is as you encounter life daily. Do this. Is it okay if we go off script a little? Not that we have a script, but I'll put my hands up, show my light against a dark background. It'll be that Celestine Prophecy film, but I had another guest who was around in the 70s who said, hey, we were doing that before the film ever existed. And in India, they do it this way. I get to tell a dad joke when I do this, which is the most important thing of all. If you're laughing, you're letting go. So here's the dad joke most importantly. Santa's, now, Temple already heard this before the show, but she might laugh again. Santa's reindeer, Blitzen and Dancer, just those two. Why do they drink so much coffee? I'll put my fingers up and you'll see a little filament of light, just the chakras, Hindu chakras, whatever you want to call it, the force. Answer, because they're Santa's Starbucks. Just see a little white, gold, green, 5 colors at once. If it's rainbow light, stop the video, run out and buy a lotto ticket. And Temple, what are you seeing between my fingers?
I'm seeing energy.
What color is it?
It's yellow. Yellow. It's green. And yeah, it's purple.
Yay. I didn't do it. We're just going to blame the universe.
The larger it got.
Blue sky is #1 background for folks, and they don't have to do it any one way. It's easier, but I love doing it this way, but not when I'm standing. But you can just pretend you have diamonds all over your diamond rings on and you're admiring, but let the universe come in and light you up, and so on. Temple, you've got tons of energy. Talk to us about how you properly and respectfully use your energy. But if you have to walk into a big meeting and people have been tussling a little, do you send some high vibes in first to smooth them out?
Michael, what I've been doing is since I'm 10. And I know we were talking before the show of all these things you intuitively felt coming into this incarnation. I can't explain it. Shakti Gawan wasn't teaching this creative visualization then. But when I was 10 years old and I was playing softball, I would walk the perimeter of the field. And I just did it. And people would look, what's that little girl doing? And I would walk the perimeter of the field. And what I observed, I still get goosebumps to this day, is that I would notice that the field became smaller and smaller and smaller. So when I would get up to bat, Michael, I would point to the outfielders and I would tell them they needed to go further. And I would hit it over the fence. I mean, it was just a given, that I was the one that would, what do they call it? And I've forgotten now, but in softball, it's like I was the one that cleaned up the bases.
The ringer.
Thank you. I've been doing that all my life. I have walked Carnegie Hall perimeter. It doesn't matter where I am. I always walk the field. I walk around it. And so what I do in that walking prayer, walking consciousness, I say, may what comes through me be what is heard on many different levels. And I bring an energetic presence and field to this gathering. May I hold sacred, allowing my personality to get out of the way so the great spirit through me may share and express. So that's the alignment. So I walk into an energy going, we are aligned. I love what Mark Nepo says. What we reach for may be different. What makes us reach is the same. That's a wow. What we reach for may be different. What makes us reach is the same. And I'll throw in another quote. When you asked me about 2024 earlier, is that I'm really into this quote. It's so good. I would have loved to have thought of it. It's by Howard Thurman. Stop asking what the world needs and start asking yourself what makes you come alive. That's what the world needs, is more people that are fully alive. Bam.
I like that. Hey, and you mentioned Shakti Gawan, but I've mispronounced everything. So I've been saying Gawain for 10 years. But are we talking her who co-founded New World Library?
Wayne, you know, I'm from South Carolina originally, so I tell people I'm bilingual. I speak Southern. So some people, I think it's just where you live and where you came from. You know, it's Gawan or Gawain.
Oh,
It's
Gawan. Gawan works for me. Trust me, I mispronounce all the lingo, terminology, and people's names a lot.
exactly the same person.
And she's passed over. Does that mean though you had a chance to hang out with her, interact, take I don't know how to say it, but you got to interact with her when she was around?
No, I never, well, her work hadn't come out yet, or I didn't know of it at 10. So no, I never did. I certainly delved into the book, you know, when I became aware of it. But metaphysics, I feel like I was born metaphysics, which simply means meta, beyond, physical, means you see things, you know, in a third dimension in many different layers. But I was born this way. When I first started taking classes at 19 about metaphysics, I actually got kind of confused because it was so innate, you know, of just the way I lived. However, those were exciting times because, you know, As a Man Thinketh, Illusions by Richard Bach. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
exciting Louise Hay, you know, your knee hurts because of your ego, or, you know, I mean, a lot of that, you know, those were the days. And the better days are still yet to be, but those were very fun times. But so much wisdom, like her, Angelus Arian, the Fourfold Path. I mean, we have a lot of great things out there as we observe it and actually turn our knowing to our growing to our showing, you know. So yeah.
If we were war veterans, Korea, Vietnam, we'd have war stories. But can we do a peace or love story along the way? You ran into a stranger. I mean, you've heard the stories of your car wreck and stranger comes along and either pulls you out of the fiery wreck, it wasn't your time, or out of the river. The state trooper gets there and is like, no, I'm first on the scene. I don't know who you're talking about. But there's encounters with angels or other loving beings. Sometimes it's more dream time. Is there one you'd like to share that was pivotal at some point? Oh, there were a lot of them.
How much, listen,
Take
I
as much time as you need because you're a good storyteller.
and I drank for 15 years and I did it so well. I drank from 14 to 29. I've been sober all the remaining years of my life and will continue to be. That being said, angels and stories, oh my goodness. So when you said that, I thought of a defining moment in my life that I was drinking, I was sniffing poppers, I was at a gay bar, I was probably mini blackout behind the stern wheel of an automobile. And I'm driving this car down interstate, a very active interstate headed towards Atlanta. And I exit off on a frontage road that ended. And so I go up into the trees and, you know, all that. And I had already had one, we called it DUI in the Carolinas. Other places they call it DWI. But anyway, so I already had that happen. And so I survived and I just had one little scratch, and always been blessed that way, surrounded by angels. That's evident. That being said, so I go into the courthouse and here comes the trooper, and they go, well, when you came upon, you know, Mrs. Hayes, you know, what did she say? Did she say anything? Did she try to explain to you what had happened? And the officer said, she said to me, I do not know who I am.
Mm,
Did I totally change that day? No, I did not, because I had an allergy. Like, you don't necessarily heal shellfish or peanut allergies overnight.
mm,
Sometimes you never do. However, I never forgot that. And it's like it would ring in my ear. I don't know who I am. Are you kidding me? God sent me. The universe sent me. I know who I am. What do you mean that I am that I am? And I never ever forgot that. And that story shifted the journey on my path for sure. Yes.
Okay, talk to us about, and you get a multiple choice like a sushi menu here. Compassion, kindness, awareness, angels. What am I missing? Just slowing one's roll daily. What's door A through G here? What do you want to cover as a topic?
Well, you love connection. So, the word compassion is come, pass it on.
Hmm.
So I go through my journey of struggle because I believed in struggle then, of alcoholism. And then so all the rest of the years of my life has been come pass it on. Compassion. So having compassion for other people and believing that they will discover they have an allergy and that they will transcend beyond it. We all have that. We all have ailments, issues, being bullied in high school, whatever it is. If we would integrate it within ourselves instead of let's put it on the shelf or pretend it didn't happen, we could use it for the betterment of the next story to the next person and the next story to the next person. To me, that's really what it's all about. I mean, self-help has been great. The whole, what is it now, $1 billion industry? I don't know, but originally it was to empower you to get on with your life, to understand natural laws, bringing back master teachers' teachings, and removing the layer of what we've been taught since the 1400s. God's a man and that, and you got to be good or Santa doesn't come, and you don't get your Starbucks coffee and all that. And to remove this veil, right? We've been in this space of removing the veil again from our own misunderstanding. Because when people tell me that my life doesn't work, our lives are always working. It's that we don't understand how to work with the natural laws of life. So in that energy and in that space, we can integrate and have tremendous impact, upon people. It's like a young man said to me not long ago, um, Reverend Temple, didn't you find it hard not to drink? I don't want to drink, but it's so hard. And I said, well, I can only describe to you what hard is for me. Hard is when I don't know who I am. Hard is when I don't know my name. Hard is when I don't remember where my car is. Hard is when I don't know if I slept with somebody the night before
Hmm.
because I have no recollection of what that was.
Hmm.
Hard is when I fake, which I don't like being, and I fake myself. And I call somebody with niceties to see if they'll tell me where I was last week. That's hard. Being who I am and not drinking, sweetheart, that's a breeze. That's a walk. But back to your deeper part of your question, I didn't want to just be self-help, cliches, platitudes, having 2 sentence answers to everything. I really wanted to see that I had integrated depth with my joy and with my sorrow. And that when I would speak, that it would be evident, like this person's been through some stuff. And so there's hope or there's possibility. So what birthed out of me through the years, and it wasn't trendy, I didn't do it because it was popular. Actually, I was actually told by a #1 publishing house, you have a great book, but the title is going to kill it. And the book is When Did You Die? 8 steps to stop dying every day and start waking up. And so that is my compass. That's my measure, is where am I dying and where am I vibrating? And by that, I'm talking about energy, of course, not a physical death. None of us, what is it they say, Michael? None of us are going to get out alive. We're all going to do that dying. But my commitment is not to die while I'm living, regardless of my age, regardless of what Social Security says or Medicare or the doctor or this one or that one or that one. I will not buy into all that. Is there some truth to it? Probably. But my truth is what I know to be true for me is that I want to be a vibrant life. And so my book, When Did You Die? And When Did You Start Waking Up? Wake Up. It's about the energy of that. It's like transforming the tragedies into triumph. It's like taking a sheet of paper and writing down, I did this a number, write down all the things that happened to me where I felt less of me was available after. And then I went back and I looked at it different. How am I different? How do I have more energy? How do I have more moxie? Oh, I like that word, moxie. That. And then a different truth revealed itself. So when I walk through something like my mother dying last year and just I'm cutting an umbilical cord all over again. I'm being born all over again. I'm birthing. Ooh, I'm going from cocoon and I'm aiming for the butterfly. And I'm feeling all that. I'm not going, well, everybody's going to die, or, it was inevitable. Well, she had a good life, and all uh, the stuff that people say. It's like, I will not cheat my mother from any feeling that I have. Thank you. Don't want your coaching. Appreciate your compassion. No coaching. I am going into the depths of my soul around this conversation. I will not cheat my mom. I loved her. She loved me. She deserves this moment in my life. And therefore, do the work. Do the work. And you still live and you still have things going on and you still show up. But underneath, there's this computer window that's open that says, I'm grieving right now. I'm in no hurry to rid myself of it because it's a deeper part of my heart. And one of your favorite words and one of mine, just so happens, is joy. Joy to me is an acronym, just open yourself. And so there she is. She's joy. Just open yourself. So I remember a moment a woman called me after she got my number, and she called me after I spoke at Carnegie Hall. And she said, I've listened to so many speakers through the years and teachers and orators and blah, blah. And she said, but I have never met anyone that has as much joy coming from their being as you do. What is that? How is that? What did you do? And I said, I came to understand that joy is not the absence of grief. It's the integration of it. It's like the Buddha aspect. When people used to say, I love your laugh, I am one of many tears. And so it's joy comes from the deeper wellspring of acceptance that I own my feelings. They don't own me. So
Love and joy are a constant. Open your eyes to see both anytime you want. Good luck with remembering to remember, if you can remember to remember, when you remember. And that's not even original. I thought it was. I was saying it for like 8 years. Songyel Rinpoche, because I know it's not Rinpoche anymore, got corrected. Songyel Rinpoche said this to his students for 35 years, remember to remember. I got a Ricky Gervais, did I say his name correctly? Amazing Twitter quote that is totally in line with what you just told us. Now, if it doesn't show, I'll read it, but at least get the caption and then I'll bring it up close. And so his sense of comedy, when life gets you down and you feel unloved and worthless, just remember you'll be dead one day. Have a great weekend. And so his way of perking people up. Okay, talk to us about a little bit about how you helping folks has evolved over the years. Was it one-on-one? Now it's groups only. It's one-on-one. It's more recorded. It's the 3 books. It's another book that you've been working on. What can you tell us? How have things shifted, evolved? How are you having more fun with it all?
It's all those things, really. Um, I I guess part of my energy in being a Leo is that I like the fire of doing new things. So I like to put myself out there to do something that I've never done before. I've been in the speaking world for, oh my goodness, a long time, 40 years, and a speaking coach for a long time, right? I started doing talks after I was 20. For those of you that are doing incorrect math, let's come back to that.
Wait, so 40 years of speaking since you were 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to clarify. I'm in my 60s and I'm thrilled about it. So that being said, so I have accepted engagements. I've been a keynote, traveled the country, the UK. I represented Richard Carlson's Don't Sweat the Small Stuff for many years. Don't Sweat the Small Stuff in family and in the workplace, and training, and did a lot in hospitals, which they need lots of reassuring and training and blah, blah. That being said, I also have served a spiritual community, and in that, use that community and they use me together. We created a lot of spiritual inspired, motivated activism and did a lot of leading edge things. And rather than just standing and telling people, oh, go make a difference in the world, we actually showed out loud ways that we could do that. And so I've done that. But any opportunity that I have, like being in theater, my whole life has been, I don't use notes. I use notes in the early part of my career on a lectern of looking over, and I would memorize the notes, but I always knew I didn't want to be a note reader. I had seen too many people do that poorly, and they would say, let me tell you a story about my grandfather. When I was a little girl, I'm like, no, no. So I get invited, as I told you, to do this narrative with music about Yogananda at the Biltmore Hotel where he died. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is 30 minutes verbatim, remembering every word to cue, because I've got a band and dancers and people that are going to be coming in the pause. And the joke with me forever is don't give Temple a script because she doesn't follow it. Teleprompter is going, where is she? Because I want to be in my heart. I don't want to be in a script, but yet, so anyway, I love doing new things, to answer your question. And I love stretching, myself. And so we did it and it worked and I learned it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But those are the openings for me, is what's next. What's next? And I pay attention to what knocks on my door 3 times. I pay attention to where the feathers fall. I'm listening, and I say yes a lot. I do, to answer your technical aspect of it. Yes, I do a lot of Zoom. I always prefer live people, live audiences. I don't just represent people. I represent animals and the voiceless, and so wherever I'm called, and I don't have an agenda or a specific purpose other than saying yes to what feels right, here, that connects the greater vibration of myself.
Joseph Campbell once had that expression, I think, say yes to life, when he was talking to Bill Moyers, and that whole, I listened to the audio version of it, but Power of Myth, both book and audio CDs are fantastic. Tell us for 1 second, or even take a whole minute or two, globalpeaceworkers.com, your 501c3, what's that about?
I started that in 2007. I wrote a little book. It's backwards, but it's The Right to Be You. And it's about everybody has the right to be. Human rights, civil rights. Everybody has the right to, including all living things, for respect. And so I started that. And so we did fundraisers and we gave funds to the elderly that they could be independent. Right now, we're working on a city in Kenya and helping them, develop uh, sustainable vegetables and goats. And I mean, I had one strong. Here's the thing: we will be sending you the funding, and there's a process. But you said, a minute, so here we go. And I go, as long as you agree that you will not kill any cow, any goat, then I can be behind that. But that's the agreement. And so we've been doing a lot of good there in that we're helping them become alive again.
Hmm.
It doesn't take a lot. And I think that's the thing. And that to me is what Global Peace Workers stands for. People will go, oh, I want to do something, but it's a lot. It's a lot. And that's a glorified excuse to do nothing. And so you can just pick one thing. And with certain places, it doesn't even take a lot of money. It just takes, like you said, a lot of joy and a lot of love. So,
Okay. I'm going to read 4 different quotes from whoever. It could be Buddha, it could be Einstein, Eckhart Tolle, it could be angels, Wayne Dyer. But I've got an 18-page list of quotes, or Winnie the Pooh. Actually, I'm going to do a Winnie the Pooh quote first because he's pretty darn good as a philosopher. Some people talk to animals, not many listen, though. That's the problem. And I would add that's the opportunity for us all. And I'll add another quote from Winnie because he's so good. Weeds are flowers too, once you get to know them. Those are 2 of the quotes, 2 more coming. We got to get serious here. Freedom happens when walls are removed. Sarah, an angel without an H. And here's another one from an angel. Compassion is just being and trusting the outcome to be of the highest intent for all. Which one struck you as the most poignant, the most fun, the one that's the tattoo down your back? You can't show us. Which one did you like the most out of all the quotes? There was 2 Winnie the Poohs. Some people talk to animals. Weeds are flowers too. And then there was freedom happens when walls are removed. And also compassion is just being and trusting the outcome to be of the highest intent for all.
well, I'm going to go with Winnie the Pooh. Weeds are flowers too once you get to know them. I really feel my heart. I love the quote that's mine, actually. United we stand, and divided we are merely a distraction. And I really resonate with that because when we meet with the eyes of our soul, when we allow our hearts to align, we can see that we are so wonderful, so beautiful. I love going into a addict place, recovery place, people that are recovering from alcohol or survive themselves. And I love to say, welcome to the Gifted Club. And they go, some of them actually cry. They go, nobody's ever said that to me. They say I'm a screw up. They say I'm this, I'm saying this. They are the weed that really is a flower once you get to know them.
And by that, I mean, sometimes the way I look at it for addiction is they've got an incredible gift, sensory. They're feeling it so much, it's got to be drowned out.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's too much to say. They're feeling something, and it's got to be, put away one way or the other. I'll read another quote, but this one's from an angel, and this is sort of that pass it on thing that you talked about. Sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion. A smile changes any moment. So too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassion to all. Do it. Now, what's the patented Temple Hayes response to this?
Mm. Well, I feel people really feel your energy. It's like when I first met you today, I could feel like, whoa, immediately. You didn't say anything.
Thank you.
Didn't say anything yet, but I felt your vibe.
I still
And
haven't said anything yet, actually. Sorry.
I thought this guy, he has owned his mission. And I just was able to walk into that. And that's how you feel. You know, you walk into certain stores
Hmm.
and you get U-turn because there's something then you walk into another store and it can be a line down the corner and you'll wait in line because you go so it's that space. So I've learned in more of my life, it's if words were the only healer,
Hmm.
we would not be talking about things that need to be healed. It's a presence, it's an energy. Like you said, sometimes you can just hold space and you're quiet and you can project out and make a connection with someone more than someone talking, 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 talking. You know, I feel in our culture today, we can look up Google, help me with this. Google, help me with, you know, what is that? What blah, blah, blah. We have all the data in the world, but how are we integrating it into our heart? That is the key question.
Hey, and when you're on fire, it could be anybody, and just ask the universe. If you need to ask the universe out loud, quietly that morning. But as you're walking into a shop to just order coffee, it could be anything. The place might be empty, but watch if you walk in on fire is what I'm calling it, but just compassion, love, flowing, the force from Star Wars. Watch how many people come in right after you, or how a shop fills up. If you're having another high vibe person's with you and you have a conversation over tea, and watch how a place can fill up. It's not just one or two places, but you can pick up that pattern. If you stay open, you'd be surprised at what you might notice around you and what happens for an establishment too. Okay, another quote. In American society, we think something is happening when there's talking. In Native American tribes, something is happening when there's silence. How do you do it to start off each day? You roll out of bed. Are you seeing the recessed lights? What are they called? Pot lights? Pot lights, something like that. The fancy lights that are recessed into the ceiling. Before you've uttered a word, before you brush your teeth, are you seeing rainbow light around that? Are you meditating? What are you doing to fire up the engines and get going with your day?
I'm absolutely into quiet.
Okay.
I embrace the quiet. Sometimes I speak to the angels and the guides. I'm blessing my day. I
Hmm.
don't ever open my eyes initially because my Yorkie is over here somewhere waiting. Come over and give me like a big car wash, like welcome, like, oh, good morning. I'm so glad to see you. You're so blah, 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 blah. So I'm very mindful of that. So I just stay into the quiet and just pray and I just give thanks. I mean, a huge level of gratitude and just feeling and Michael and Gabriel and the angels and Sai Baba,
Hmm.
Krishna consciousness, Jeshua, or AKA Jesus, you know. So I just work with all these components that I may be keenly listening, you know, in the course of the day, in that awareness, and that I come from a place of love. I mean, love is one of those words that, you know, like the French people will say, you Americans, you just say love, love, and you're my friend, and I've known you a half a minute. What is that? But yet, to me, I've lived to know that love isn't about aiming that you love and never getting hurt. True love is when you've gotten hurt many times and you step up ready to love again. And I see that a lot in my work through the years. Is I see people hurt. I see their dog dying. Well, I'll never do that again. That hurts too bad. Well, you're cheating yourself. You
Hmm.
know, you're closing down. What is that joke you told me that if you want to hide in a hospital, the best
Oh,
place to
yeah.
hide.
Where's the worst place to play hide and seek in a hospital? In the ICU?
And that's what it is when we deny ourselves you know, love will hurt. There is no doubt about it. And if you're intelligent, you can count on it. It will hurt at some level about something. That's not the goal. It's being hurt and expanding more to love even better the next time around.
Mm.
So
I'm doing a public service announcement that ties right back into what you said. But for folks, everybody, just hit that like button, subscribe. What am I saying? Share, comment, share how much you love Temple's vibe, what she said, how you reacted in an awesome way, something like that. Just, I love Temple. Why not? Temple University. Okay, so long story short, I help people see on the other side their loved one or their pets. It's cool. We'll leave that alone. I just want to mention it only because it sometimes shifts the consciousness and it changes the formula. Not 2 days after Ralphie, your pooch, passed. No, you got to wait a little bit, process whatever that stuff is. But also, your living dog is like a third grader. It's what Winnie the Pooh said. You know, we're not really listening. You do, though, as a dog owner, listen at least 25% of the time. When you're not walking in the door from work like this, ignoring how excited they are, that's the moment you want to have a breakout spiritually. Drop to your knees, engage Ralphie, and get licked like a car wash all over the face and watch your reaction, because that's where you got the duality going on. Part of you is like, yum, I love it, lick me more. The other part of you is like, I just got home from work. Are you kidding? You know, ooh, stay away. Okay, there was one more thing. I've completely forgotten what it was, but it doesn't matter. Can I light some sage for you? I said it properly. I was about to say light you for sage. But can I light some sage? It's a staple of the show. People can smell sage, whether you're in New Zealand, Germany, it's 2030, 2028. I kind of suspect that everything you do is timelessness, which is love, more awareness, more consciousness, more compassion, more spark, more joy in the moment, enjoying the moment. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to show a feather, show some sage. I'm going to get a lighter that works. I'm going to tell one more dad joke. Bert and Ernie, Sesame Street. Well, no, I'll do the one that you haven't heard. I'll do the Bert and Ernie since I mentioned it. Bert offers Ernie ice cream. What's Ernie say? Sure, Bert. And then one you haven't heard is, why did the rabbit fall down that well? He didn't see that well. Might come in handy in Kenya. Okay. And we don't want to harm rabbits. Okay, so I'm lighting some sage. Only rule or structure I've got is give yourself a break. Up in the brain, we're all professional CNN analysts analyzing everything. It's that whole knowing that precludes possibility that kind of defeats us from being more loved. So ditch what you know for 5 seconds. Use the schnoggin, ask the universe to get into your schnoggin, but some people taste it, so whatever. It's your heart knowing, it's your heart doing the smelling without smelling Zen thing. So go Zen, man. You know, come on, man. You got this. And you're catching sage already in the Santa Barbara area from Texas, are you not?
Totally.
If you want flowers or ocean smell, ask for that as well. And please put that in the notes. And if you're having trouble, just be like, hey, I'm trying. And then no try Yoda. I'll do Yoda's voice for folks to totally throw myself under the bus. But if you laughed at home, you're letting go. That's how simple this is. And Temple, that's the next question for you. How simple is all of this? It's right here, right now, right here. You've got a big heart. You're already an Olympian. But here's Yoda's voice. I promised I'd do it. Do not. There is no try. Okay. And that was the sage thing. And if you laughed again, you let go. If you smiled, if you breathe, I think that's kind of it's like these micro moments. That's the opening openness, the gateway, the doorless door that Zen talks about. It's always here. It's always this occasion right now is always your opportunity. I didn't say that. That's Chogyam Trungpa from 10 years ago. But Temple, what's this all about? Why is Zen doing it? Philosophy, spirituality, this group, that group, consciousness studies. How simple is it really?
That is a leading question there.
And there's no judge, though, to say overruled or whatever they say.
So because anytime someone brings me in as their shamanic healer, I tell them those are my 2 or 3 first sentences. Shamanism is one of the oldest practices, if not the oldest practice that has ever existed. The downside of it is it's so simple. You're going to have the tendency to poo-poo it or say, well, that can't work. Are you talking that just using sage in my home can transform my life? Yes. These ancient practices, so many of them are so simple. Hanging on to the same challenges is hard. Letting go of them can be simple if you believe. And that's what I've found with the practice of Native American shamanic learning, is that it's just not complicated, and we don't buy a lot of products, and so it's not commercialized. You know, it doesn't benefit a lot of people and make them multimillionaires. It's an inward thing. So yes.
Brilliant. Love it. Can we do a lightning round where I put up an angel or a Native American chief photo or Sai Baba? You're either going to get a prompt for a topic or you're going to share what they shared or something, but you'll figure it out, at least get a hug. And people at home, if they want to put their hands up, like you're at a concert, what do you think you're doing at a concert? Let me make that point. I was at a concert. I snapped this photo. And I did ask the question, if everybody had a camera, would everybody have gotten the shot? And I always forget everything, but the answer was either 1/3 of the crowd or 2/3 of the crowd would have gotten the shot. More importantly, it's a great barbecue pit place for dinner and lunch in Texas, Austin. It's
Orbs. Those are orbs.
yeah, and angels as well, since that's joy in the middle. There's Claire, the bright purple, my guardian angel, the big white one above joy. But it's Stubbs Barbecue, which has got an incredible concert venue, 8 bars and around there, and sloped amphitheater, and very easy flow and very fun bands from all over the world. More important, angels. There's an angel named Joy. And Temple, if you want to just get a little reminder on something that we haven't touched on, or a smell in the air, or anything, it's your call. Chef's choice.
I'm going to show you my orbs in Brazil.
Ooh, nice.
That's me and my wife, and we had orbs everywhere.
Wow.
Hey, well, we were going to tell the quick story about Sai Baba.
Oh,
You want me to do
yeah,
that?
let's do it. Was that Carolyn Mace?
Yeah, so Dr. Carolyn Mace, MYSS, and I say Mace, and I guess you do too. But anyway, Dr. Carolyn Mace, in one of her back in the day, some of you may not know what this is, but it's about this big, and it was called a cassette tape. And so we used to have cassette tapes before we had CDs before we had MP3s. And so she was talking in this cassette tape about that she thought, what in the world, who is this Sai Baba? This Sai Baba person that they're saying has this powder, this ash that he produced out of his hands. I have a lot of it all around the house. How can this person, that sounds just too way out there, too cuckoo. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around that. That he holds his hands up and people see ash coming out and jewelry, and he pulls people's disease out of their body. What is that? Having been who she is. And so the next day or the day after, FedEx comes to her door and she gets a package, and it's vibhuti. And that's what it's called, vibhuti, this ash. And it says, "Hello, Carolyn, love Sai Baba." So she gets this gift. And it was dated in such a way, like the same time was the same time, like you had said. Okay, there was no distance in past, future, and now time. It was the time. And so anyway, so then she goes on to say that then one of her friends knew she had it. And one of her friends, it was either her or a friend of hers that needed it because she had cancer. And so wanted to know if Carolyn would give it to her. And she goes, so here I go from being a non-believer to being greedy, like, I'm not sharing my with you. And so she did, and she got another package in the mail.
Huh. There's
Yeah.
there's a Sai Baba adherent who's since passed over around 2012, Sri Kaleshwar. Alan Steinfeld did 2 beautiful documentaries. It's a 2-part series. He and his wife, I'm forgetting everything, but they were married by him. And long story short, Sri Kaleshwar, the way I describe him, is love on an Indian breeze. But he did all that as well. He was in the lineage, love Sai Baba. That would be his instructor. But here's a photo of Sri Kaleshwar. He was only 42-ish, 38 when he passed. Knew he was going to go young, but had the tiger that the divine mother rides on, show up in the house when the dad was coming up to be like, hey, you're not studying enough of the spirituality, and the tiger physically showed up. With your permission, let me put Sai Baba's photo up and a few more if there's something you can relate either directly or indirectly with each. A few angels, a few Indian figures. And any smells you want to share, anything else, but just allow. And at home, if you need to do something to break your structure, don't do a fire, do a circle. That's a classic shamanistic thing from seal hunting days in Irkutsk. Take the little rock on the big rock and rub for 2 or 3 days. Now, we don't want to hurt seals. We don't have 2 or 3 days, and we don't have a big rock for certain. But the cliff face would open up, seal spirits would come out, they'd have a chat and a good hunt for the rest of the season. So we just shaved a lot of time by just rubbing our hands. Okay, here's Sai Baba. You can catch an Indian temple incense smell that's exotic. You can't get it on Amazon. Whatever you'll allow for, he'll move, wink, smile, something in the photo. This is one of my top photos for this. And he's super fun. Mr. Miracles is how I describe him. What are you getting, Temple, from Sai Baba to relay to all of us?
You have the answer. Whoever you happens to be that's listening, you have the answer.
And the tiger, the divine mother, deity-like, don't think spirit animal as much. Not that there's any structure or hierarchy in the first place, but Mr. Action or Mrs. Action, kick butt on everyone's team. You can put your hand out and feel the tiger in the room. One woman from India got it on the wrist. You can get licked. I know that might not be the big thing, but here's the tiger up close and personal, not great lighting over my shoulder. And soft shampooed fur, opposite of the jaguar. That's wiry and kind of tough. What are you getting, Temple, from an unconditional love action figure?
I get the message, stop resisting. Just go with it. Stop resisting. Just go with it.
And one of these figures, will you get a compliment you can share out loud? First, get a compliment you're not allowed to share out loud. A wonderful compliment. And just say, got it when you got it.
Got it.
Yay, you're awesome. Okay, Gabriel. One of these, though, they're going to say to you, you can share this one out loud, and it's okay if we do this once in a while. Self-love is good. We don't do enough of it. Here's Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel, one way. Anybody wants to hear, close their eyes, see light on your eyelids, hear singing. What else can I say? Flowers. You spin the twister wheel. Go get the twister box, toss the rest of the game, but get the wheel. Write something in under each color and let Gabriel just spin the twister wheel. Get a surprise. What'd you get?
A lot of abundance.
Yay. Let me, I wrote names down. Gabriel, and I've got a Kapuna for you because we're talking shamanism. Kapuna out of Hawaii, Kapuna Auntie Margaret. I say every angel is awesome, every figure is awesome. I'm a broken record, but they truly are. Kapuna Auntie Margaret, I do have a unique expression for her. She's love on a Hawaiian breeze. She's a sweetie. And you can catch a little Hawaii in the air. Here she is. And anybody who wants to put their hands up and have your hands vibing out for a week, we should have done that with Sai Baba. So you don't need a photo. Close your eyes and ask Sai Baba to come in and ripple through you for a whole week. But the brain, might only allow for a couple days. But if you go crazy, be like the rest of the year. And if you're really wide open, be like, why wouldn't you have him walk with you the rest of your life? Here's Kapuna Auntie Margaret. She's loving a Hawaiian breeze, and you're probably feeling her right away. She's got a great laugh, great percolating energy. What are you getting, Temple? And she should be reminding you of you got a lot of zip to you. This should be an easy one. What'd you get?
Scott, life is supposed to be fun.
I like it.
So much coming from her essence.
And I have 3 Native American chiefs, Dull Knife, Red Shirt, Geronimo, as soon as they show up around here. Here we go. Historical photos, you're going to get an older Geronimo. Dull Knife is wisdom with some humor. And he was Cheyenne, unconditional love, spirit guide, who's great for helping you navigate from point A to B. You can catch one of those 50 sacred scents in the air: sage, sweetgrass, juniper, tobacco, desert pinon, pine. You get the idea. What are you getting in the air?
It's time to take responsibility for the earth.
And to the audience watching this, you got to type something. Just be like, I like Temple. If you want to go crazy, I love Temple. Emoji, emoji, emoji. What emojis will you choose? Why not? Red shirt, gentlest mom in the world. He's not action, action, action. That's Geronimo. He's compassion, compassion, compassion. So soft spoken. Anybody going through a pinch in life, you know, divorce, health, layoff, you name it, they love him. Wearing U.S. presidential medal. And he's Lakota Sioux chief. And what are you getting, Temple?
Time to lead.
Older Geronimo. I'll show younger Geronimo. He's action, dry wit, humor. The first two are formal, proper, yes, no. Geronimo's like, yeah, nah, duh. You already know the answer. Just do it. Here's the fierce younger Geronimo. And I'm going to put older Geronimo because holy Toledo. You need a seatbelt, Formula roller coaster, or Formula One seatbelt for this photo. Anybody can tee up a topic at home, give it a fruit name, say cantaloupe out loud or watermelon. Each one of those seeds is the 50 cousins asking you for money every day. You know what the topic is. The angels and the universe knows what the topic is. Geronimo knows. Actually listen with your heart. You can't be thinking about the laundry. Just clear out, drop to your heart. And Temple, are you feeling, is he making you feel this one? It's pretty direct.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. And if you'll ask, you can hear like that Native American, oh, I don't know how to say this the right way. Tribal music, the light, those drums with skins and the rattles. You can hear the nice, soft rhythm. Do you have it in your hand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. But what's Geronimo got for us as a reminder?
That he knew it all the time. He knew it all the time.
There is a type of knowing that's a-okay. It's not blocking anything. It means you're limitless. What is that knowing about? You've had it for a long time. You've got a lot of gusto. We used the word moxie before, but now, you know, we got to keep moving and shifting on your energy here. What's this knowing about? What are we talking about?
We're talking about a collective consciousness. We're talking about an inner ability to stay open to listen beyond the external, whatever it is, the noise, the somebody's opinion, the something you've heard. You know, the best wisdom comes from within. Does this feel right to me? Does it feel like my path? A lot of things that are promoted as they fit everyone. There isn't one size fits all. So it could work for that person over there, but it may not work for you, though you may have very, you know, a lot of similarities. So it's the wisdom, the part within me that knows what it knows that it needs to know is something that's called in from a greater awareness.
Okay, how would you suggest somebody going about exploring themselves more? Is it books, a retreat? What do they need to do to start taking steps if they're like, hey, I like everything I'm hearing from Temple? What's a few suggestions for getting started? Is it just sitting still in the backyard?
For me, it's about I'm open. You know, I'm open to paying attention to what comes on my path. And then I pay attention. It can be a phone call. It can be I'm watching YouTube and I think I'm watching one thing and it jumps over to something else. And I'm just in that awareness of being attentive. And when I see a certain direction going, then that's what I'm called for. It's not like I say yes to everything, you know, but the things that feel like they resonate, that's what I go for because it's more organic. You know, there's so many things that you can be called to do or pay attention to. I mean, YouTube is full of, you know, things that you can check into, TED Talks and all of that. But rather than just going after stuff, start with the defining moment of my heart is now open. I'm willing to be exposed to new things. What's like you said before we started the show, you don't ever start a show without an intention. So as a person, start that intention. I feel inspired today. I've been listening to Temple and Michael, and I want to open up to a greater intention of my life. Bam. And then you just follow and listen and observe, and things are going to show up because they always do.
Cultivate your focus, grow your awareness, not your thinking. I love it. Okay. Last little bit, take us where you want to take us on this whole ebb and flow called life. How do we not take ourselves so seriously? How do we take, though, our heart a lot more seriously? And by doing that, it just means like having a more fun ride, walking a smoother path. Can you give us another,
Yeah. It's going to sound kind of radical, so, get ready to. I love Stephen Covey. One of the greatest Bibles ever written was Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. I taught that course all over. Love it, love it, love it. And so I kind of added to this. So when I'm fretting over something or when something seems like such a big deal, then I say to myself, is it going to make my 45-minute speech? Which speech? What 45 minutes? It's the end of my life and somebody's talking about me. What are they saying? What did they tell about me? Is that going to fit in? Then I'm not going to spend that much time on it because nobody's ever going to mention it. And it's a great way of measuring and diffusing self-imposed stress and trauma because it's like, no, it's not even going to come up. Okay, then I can move on, to the next thing. But that has really worked in my life. Will it make my speech? I mean, even if you're famous, you only get an hour and a half, you know.
Oh my God.
Global leader, you might get 2 hours, but folks, that's it. And unless you're one of the known, I mean, nobody will mention your name again. But what is your legacy of the energy that you left? That's what's important. So
Talk to us about that energy a little bit more. Is it 1 + 1 = 111 or higher?
that's interesting that you said 111. That's one of my code numbers, 111. I see it all the time. Yes, it's 111.
Does that mean when it's 1 p.m. and 11 minutes after 1 o'clock, you're pretty jacked, or hopefully not in the middle of the night, you're like, oh my God, I got to take notes now. Waking up in the middle of the night. One example for us, just one, of serendipity, synchronicity, and angels did this. You did the Carolyn Mace story.
Got it. I was going to Peru, and a friend of mine does mandalas, and so she had crafted a mandala on a piece of jewelry, and it was reflecting world peace. And she said, "I'm gifting you this when you go to Peru and you're traveling around, whether it's Lima." Or whether it's Cusco or whether it's the Machu Picchu, whatever, I trust you'll know where to put this. And so we're walking, we'd been where the popular part of the Machu Picchu is and the llamas and all that. And we then go on another tour and we're walking up and we come to this portal, and it's the portal where the angels, the ancient saying, it's where the angels enter the earth, is in this portal. And the energy, Michael, oh my goodness, if you haven't gone there, you're destined to go. It's just like, oh my gosh. And I looked at my wife and I said, this is it. And so I go over and I dig and I bury it where the portal where the angels enter. And so anyway, I come back to the States and I see my friend and she goes, oh, did you find the place? I said, yeah, I sure did. I said, it's the portal where the angels come in. And she said, what day was it? I thought, that's weird. What time was it? I really need to. And I was thinking, like, was it Tuesday, Wednesday, because I didn't keep up with time then. Was it then? I went, oh, it was Thursday. She said, I was creating a new mandala. It was the angel's portal. That's what I called it.
I love it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to mention something, but I got to get your reaction to it. So angels exist. Whoop, hold on. Let me go back to one. Angels exist.
Yes.
Trust that this is so. Your answers and much more will come, and there's a fourth. Allow for more in each moment. How about that? But what's your, 5, 6, and 7?
The answers will come. It's up to us to activate and act upon those answers.
And love, it's that simple. Just do a little more staying open and letting life do its job, or helping you out, or you helping yourself out.
Yeah, and I think the deepest part is, at the end of the day, how do we tell our sacred story? It's all about how we tell our story. And the story is the one we cling on to. And so if your life isn't where it wants to be, adjust the story. Expand the story, see the story different, get somebody else to tell your story and see how you sit with it. Because it's really what it's all about. I mean,
Yeah, get 3 legal pads, start writing that story, what happened to you. Take each page, scotch tape it to your floor. So from your office through the living room to wherever it needs to go. It could be 28 pages or longer. But each month, each week, each day, if you want, rewrite it. At some point, it's going to get shorter. And I don't know anybody who started with I am love.
right?
And it's just crumpling it and dropping the pen, like dropping the mic, and walking away going, I'm love. So if you got to go to the mirror and say, I'm love 1,000 times, you're going to be at tears probably at around 400th time, either because it's driving you nuts or because you broke yourself and you broke through. But at some point, you're going to mean it and be like vibing out like you're on LSD or mushrooms, or just crying tears of joy. Because at some point, you're going to be resonating the high vibe that exists within all of us. And Temple, that's what you're about, total high vibe. So I got to give you a high five from afar. Here, we'll connect. Only my highest vibe, not my bill paying, my thoughts when I'm on a run. Can you feel my vibe from where am I? Texas to California?
Oh,
And if you want, I'm supposed to use my hand. I can whoosh rainbow light your way 3 times. The first one, sandbag. The second, medium. The third will be, there we go. So I've done this on other shows. I was shy, so I didn't want to volunteer unless now we're doing it. Allow for what you're going to allow for at home. Feel the vibe. Here comes rainbow light. Blame angels. And did you get that A-okay?
totally.
Okay. Second one, go a little bigger. Go big, go home. You're already at home. Go big. Here comes more rainbow light. Again, blame angels. Don't blame Canada. And the third, if you'd allow for a Maui breeze, but if you want Seychelles or Costa Rica, I get it. I'm going to blow through the microphone, catch a little beach breeze again. Blame Gabriel. Okay, here we go. If people want to play this over, close their eyes and actually feel the sea breeze. I always run to my thermostat, check the windows, closed, it's off. It's actually the universe doing its thing. Temple, was that A-okay? Did you feel something?
Totally.
Yay, yay.
Totally.
Oh. Well,
Don't
I'm
be
feeling you, and I hope people did as well. Again, please put a few words in. Thank Temple. At least say, thank you, Temple. That's good enough. We're a super shy channel, 450,000 views. We've dropped a little bit in audience. We're a super small show, but something's up because we've got 204 shows booked into April of 2025, and we're only airing back in July about episode 86. So we'll have most of them taped up by the end of the summer of 2024. It's kind of incredible. So this is going somewhere. Angels have told me to do it. Ours, sometimes you can't question stuff too much. You got to just let it play out like a bridge hand and see where it goes.
Yeah, and you never know with the ripple effect. It's so much more than the views, because somebody tells somebody that tells somebody that lives different. So no way of knowing ultimately the ripple effect that you have.
Can you hold up the book for us and just let us know what's one of the best ways people can check you out? Obviously, your website.
You insist. Yes, I will. When did you die? 8
Oh.
steps stop dying every day and start waking up, the best way to find me is my website, Temple Hayes, and everything is on there.
Mm.
So, yes, and I'd love to hear from you. I'm on social. I'm actively involved, and yes,
Well,
being
I can say you're plugged in, and I mean that in the highest and the coolest ways. So love your energy, and I thank you very much for coming on Angels, Positivity, and Love. You've been a complete delight to have on the show.
Thank you for having me, Michael. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Temple.